Hey guys, I've got a really fun video for you today because behind me is the brand new Volvo V60 Cross Country. And in this episode, we are taking it off-road up here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. Transmission hot. It wasn't that long ago that the cross country really ruled Colorado, and especially our hometown of Boulder. And there's a few reasons for that. They held a ton of stuff, they had good all-wheel drive systems, and they were super rugged. So you could easily throw 3 bikes on the roof, 2 dogs in the back, and then head out to the most remote campsites imaginable and make it back the next day, no problems whatsoever. Now the question is, how durable is this latest cross country? Because so many of those old ones were replaced with crossovers and SUVs. This is going to be our first off-road test. It's called the berm test. It is a steep hill with a big hole right in the middle. This is a great test of not only vehicle torque, but the all-wheel drive system to see if it can distribute power where it needs to go, because we are definitely going to be lifting up some tires. Now, I do have an off-road mode, which is a nice touch, so I'm going to go in off-road mode here on the drive selector. I'm going to aim right toward the hole. Take it nice and slow. My goal here is to really upset the vehicle, to force it to put strain on the all-wheel drive system. Torque feels really good, so the 8-speed automatic in this is responding well. So there you have the hole. Alright, navigated that well, and now we are probably at a 20-degree incline or so. I'm slowly applying throttle. Picked up that tire high, but we did successfully make it up the hill. Independent suspension on this Volvo. Not great for articulation, but what can you expect? It is a primarily road-going station wagon. There is only one engine option in the V60 Cross Country. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It develops 250 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic and an all-wheel drive system. It's important to note that this is the only engine option. There's no hybrid system like you'd find in other Volvos. It's just this T5 2-liter turbo. Now, for all you Volvo fans out there, you might remember that the older cross countries were much more rugged than their standard station wagon counterparts. They rode quite a bit higher. They had all sorts of black plastic cladding on the outside, so if you ran them into trees or shopping carts, you weren't worried about scuffing the paint. Now, this latest generation of cross country does have a slight lift over the standard V60. It does have a little bit of black cladding, but it doesn't look very off-roady. It doesn't look very adventuresome. They've really gone for much more of a sleek urban design, even on the cross country, and you can tell that by these wheel and tire combos. This is a 19-inch wheel, and it's wrapped in Pirelli all-season rubber. This is our Tombstone Hill off-road test route. It's got 2 different stages. The right side we call Truth. It's really steep, about 30 degrees. It's also super rutted out with big holes. It really upsets all-wheel drive systems and forces the vehicle to figure out where to distribute power so we don't get stuck. And then the dare side of Tombstone Hill is really pretty challenging. It's got a lot of big rocks, a great test of approach angle and ground clearance. First, we're going to go up Truth, see how the Volvo handles, and then if it does that, maybe we'll give dare a shot. Oh man, this is a really steep hill. It's always hard to show just how challenging something is on camera, but trust me, it can be even tricky to walk up this at times because it's just so loose and steep, let alone drive up it. So I'm in drive. Let me make sure we've got our off-road mode selected. All right, I think we're ready to go. Now, this new Volvo uses a system called a Halidex all-wheel drive. Volvo's been using it for many generations. Basically, it's a front-wheel drive bias system, but when it senses slip in the front end, it can distribute torque to the rear. Volvo says up to 50-50 front-to-back balance when it needs to be, which is pretty promising on paper. It does have a true 8-speed automatic transmission, so it does have a torque converter, which means I'm not slipping dual clutches. That's a great thing in this new Volvo. And the torque is impressive. Quite honestly, I'm very impressed. Oof, I said that too early. I'm very impressed with the gearing. When you get this thing down in a first gear, it really does have a lot of torque for slow speed rock crawling. And the goal is not to take this hill fast, it's to take it slow on purpose to really challenge the vehicle. see how it performs. Now basically what's happening is a wheel goes into the hole, and it does have open differentials, but it will break the wheel that's spinning to force power to the wheel with traction. It's doing a pretty good job with it, I must say. It's not quite as immediate as the Mercedes system, so it doesn't clamp onto the brake as hard as something like the GLB, which I recently took up here, but it is working, and we haven't had any ground clearance issues. So I think we're going to tackle the harder trail next, the dare portion of Tombstone Hill. Now, as we make our way down this hill, I'm going to go ahead and test the vehicle's hill descent control. Ooh, it's a little quick, if I'm being honest. I could use a little bit slower. Can I control it at all? Yeah, the shifter? Nope, it's pretty much just saying one speed here. Can't control it with the up or down on the cruise control either. So hill descent control is working. It's holding me about 5 miles per hour, but that's quicker than it would like out here. What if I manually? Nope, 5 is pretty much it. So another great test of a vehicle's all-wheel drive system is something we call the slip test. Basically, we get various wheels stuck on purpose to see if the car can get us unstuck. Now, you'll notice I'm wearing a different shirt. I shot this on a different day, but check out these latest TFL shirts in the link in the description below. They're pretty cool. So I'm gonna go into reverse. This is the front wheel slip test. So basically, it's a test of the Halidex all-wheel drive system. We're gonna get the front wheel stuck, and then we're gonna see how quickly the system reacts to engage the rear wheels to get us unstuck. So I'm going into neutral, letting the vehicle settle. I'm gonna go into the off-road drive mode, just like we're using out on the trail, and then foot off the brake and accelerate. Okay, so almost no slipping whatsoever, and we got off no problem. So the next roller test is something we call the diagonal test. So opposite wheels are at a loss of traction. This is very common off-road. It's also pretty common in the snow, believe it or not. So into the rollers, into neutral, I'm gonna let the vehicle settle. Now the front right and the rear left have no traction, so the other two are gonna have to pull us off here. Into drive, make sure I'm still in the off-road setting. And here we go, in 3, 2, 1, foot off the brake. A little bit of throttle. So the car did figure it out, but that took a considerable amount more slipping than I thought it would. Now we're going on to the three-wheeled slip test. So both rear wheels stuck in the rollers, as is the front left. Only the front right has traction on the surface, on the ground. So this is gonna be a really good test to see if the all-wheel drive system can break the spinning wheels and send power to the wheel, singular, with traction. Into neutral, letting the vehicle settle. Into drive, and accelerating in 3, 2, 1. Well, sort of passed. I think what happened was we slipped off the rollers and it gripped one of the sides of the of the metal bracket. So I'm gonna give that a sort of pass. Anyway, there you see how it works in a lab environment. Let's go off-road. On kind of these rough, rutted out surface roads, the cross country does really well. I'm pretty impressed with the suspension tuning. It's not quite as soft as I'd like it to be. It's still a little bit firm, but overall, very well controlled. And the seats are pretty darn good. Volvo used to have the best seats in the industry, bar none. There was no competition. This latest crop of Volvo has gotten a little sporty for my liking. The seats have gotten a little bit too firm, but still highly adjustable. Tons of thigh support, which is a thing that has kind of disappeared from modern cars, and a lot of just overall suitability so you can really get yourself comfortable. I just wish that the padding was a little bit softer, especially in the headrest. We had a bunch of Volvos growing up and they always had the best headrests in the world. Now they've gone a little hard. So Volvo is a very interesting company, and they used to operate in a very interesting space in the marketplace. You had your standard cars you'd see every day, like Toyotas and Hondas and Volkswagens, and then there were also premium brands like Mercedes and BMW, and then Volvo sat right in the middle. And what that meant is that when you bought a Volvo, it would be comfortable and refined, but it also wouldn't be so expensive that you'd worry about throwing your dog in the back or taking it out into the dirt. And you could scuff up the inside and it would be okay, because it wasn't like you were scuffing up a brand new BMW. It was a Volvo station wagon. That's what they were meant for. Now these modern day Volvos have really moved up class. These really do feel like BMWs and Mercedes and now Tesla, of course. All the materials are super high quality, but everything is just a little bit too fancy in my opinion for a cross country. I mean, yes, it's very comfortable, it's very well made, but for example, this beautiful wood down here in the middle, you'd feel so bad if your dog next to you came ahead and scratched that, or this big centrally mounted screen with piano black finish. None of this really feels good getting dirty. It's just, I would like to see more of an entry-level V60 cross-country, especially given this vehicle's price of almost $58,000. One area where the V60 cross-country really shines is cargo capacity. I love station wagons. I just love the overall design and the utility, and there's still definitely a lot of space in the back of this V60. Here is our camera back. You can see it easily fits inside and out. Both seats fold down flat, and there's even, check that out, a little ski pass-through. That's a nice touch. We are approaching the Dare section of Tombstone Hill. Now, we took the Subaru Outback up here pretty recently, and it struggled because it had a CVT automatic transmission. This is a conventional automatic transmission, but it also struggled because it didn't have enough ground clearance. And that vehicle had 8.7 inches. This vehicle only has 8.3, so I'm gonna take it super slow. You should see the look on my videographer's face as I approach this obstacle. It's like he just saw the worst thing in the world, which hopefully isn't the front end about to crunch into something. All right, come on, grip, please grip. I also have a long vehicle here, which means I've got a long wheelbase. Car's freaking out. Can you shut up, please? I've run into a rock. Oh man, this is a $57,000 Volvo. I don't want to be the one to break it on something. Let's see what I ran it into. It's a problem when a rock this size can really limit your ground clearance. I'm going to give it one more try, but this new cross country just doesn't have the same angles of the old one. It doesn't feel like it has enough clearance to really get you up some of these harder obstacles. All right, small rock which scraped on the rocker panel has been moved. I understand that Volvo now makes crossovers, which may be more suited for this kind of stuff, but this is a cross country. This is why you buy a cross country. To give this a try. Oh, please don't scrape. Oh, I got the nod of approval from videographer Alex. All right, wheels are spinning. No, it's not going to do it. It doesn't have the breakover angle. I don't think I have underbody protection either. It has the power. I could give it more beans. I just am not sure I want to. Come on, please grip, please grip. Oh. If I go any faster and I hit the bottom, I could tear out something really expensive, like an oil pan. Please, now it's not doing super well, so that's foot to the floor. Should be doing a better job of distributing power. I'm still floored all the way. Come on, figure it out, Volvo. Smelling a lot like tire now. Oh. Transmission hot. Well, I can't back down. It'll be easier to go forward. I guess I'll just kind of chill here for a sec. So I could have done that quicker, and it would have been easier in the transmission. But the issue is I don't have the clearance to do it quicker. If I run that front end into a rock, there's a good chance I'm gonna puncture an oil pan, which would be the end of the day out here. And could potentially seriously damage the engine, or I could puncture the transmission or something underneath. So I have to take it slow. And when I got stuck there, I was full throttle, and the all-wheel drive system was having a slight issue figuring it out. So little interesting, a little disappointing. So I'm gonna wait here for a hot sec, let the transmission cool down, and then we'll finish the climb. This is a little bit unusual. All right, we let it sit for a little bit. I let the vehicle cycle. Tell me how I'm doing there, Alex. Good. perfectly. Come on, car. I know, I'm sorry, you're hot. Oh, don't do this. Not now, not now, not now. Hurry up, figure it out. Come on, dude. Bummer. Man, dude, figure it out, please. You're supposed to be good at this. Oh, dude, go. I'm in the off-road setting. This really is a bummer. All right, I'm gonna have to bump it. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Come on. Yes, yes, car. Oh man, we did it, but I was not happy, guys. Like I said, I wish I could take that with some momentum, but it's not my $57,000 car to break. And certainly it would break if I pushed it any harder up that. At least take out a front end or something, because it's all plastic under there. So you can see why I was so cautious here. Now this doesn't look like much, it's just a few scuffs down here in the rocker, but you know, this is not a structural element of the vehicle. And if that rock had been even a little bit higher, if I had gone even a little bit faster, that probably would have torn off or at least seriously damaged the underside of this this trim ring here. So I'm glad I didn't take it any quicker, because these light scuffs could have turned into some nasty dents real quick. So I'm happy to say that we officially maxed out the Volvo V60 cross country off-road. This was as hard as I think it could ever do in its stock configuration. Now, a couple of interesting observations. When we went up the truth side, I noticed the traction control programming was excellent. It did a great job of grabbing the spinning wheel and forcing power to the wheel with traction, allowing me to continue up the hill. But when we went over to the dare side, it started out pretty well. It was doing a good job of distributing torque, and then I think it got hot. And then I noticed wheels started spinning and spinning and spinning. The traction control and halodeck system stopped being as effective at distributing torque to where it needed to go, and that's where the car really started to struggle. I just think that not only did the trans get hot, maybe the brakes got hot, maybe the halodeck system in the center of the vehicle got hot, and it just started allowing a lot of slippage so it didn't detonate itself due to an overheating situation. Overall, I think the car could be pretty good with more ground clearance and underbody protection. But as it sits in this configuration with 19-inch wheels, all-season tires, and plastic shielding underneath, I wouldn't take it into anything even moderately hard. I just think it's too expensive to break, and I'm a little disappointed that it wears this cross-country name, because for cross-country, like the older ones, it just needs to be a little bit more rugged for this kind of use, because we are out here in Colorado. This is the mecca of campsites. There's actually a campsite as we get up this hill, and I'm not sure I'd comfortably take my own car up that if it were my money. Well, as always, this is Tommy with the Fast Lane Car. Check out TFL Car and TFL Off-Road for the latest and greatest in new car and off-road tests.